Waking up my son without a doubt. 논산으로 달려가는 길 가슴이 설레서 눈물이 핑. Even when the day feels fast, I hold one thing and let it last. 무사히 그 한마디가 내 마음을 지켜줘. Safely through every day, in the driving, in the working, in the small, small seconds turning. 오늘도 무사히 왔다는 것, 그게 가장 큰 선물. Safely through every day, I'm still here, I'm still okay. 고맙다고 말할래. Orders waiting, I start ahead. 어제 못한 일도 오늘은 끝. 점심 전에 마무리하고 작은 성취에 웃음이 나. A familiar face walked in today. 옛 이야기로 시간이 가. 만두 한 입 따뜻한 맛, 조카가 준 마음까지. A call comes in, mom, I'm fine. 한마디에 세상의 light. 아들 목소리 들을 수 있어. 오늘이 더 환해져. Safely through every day, in the traffic, in the meeting, in the food that keeps me breathing. 별일 없이 흘러간 하루, 그게 기적이야. Safely through every day, I'm still here, I'm still okay. 고맙다고 말할래. Sometimes my head aches, my eyes feel tired. Just rest, my heart gently whispers. 눈 꼭 감고 잠깐 쉬면 내일은 또 맑아지겠지. You held me, you waited, you drove. 신랑의 배려가 나를 안아줘. 사랑은 거창한 게 아니라 무사히 집에 데려다 주는 것. Safely through every day, through the rain and through the calm, through the worries that dissolve. 오늘도 무사히 마친 밤, 나는 충분해. Safely through every day, I'm still here, I'm still okay. 사랑해요, 축복해요, 고맙습니다. No big fireworks, no parade, just a quiet made it day. 오늘도 무사히 safely through every day.
The morning came without a sound. A pale light across the room. The curtain moved, the kettle sang, and nothing hurried into bloom. The floor was steady under me. The window held a quiet sky. I washed my face in gentle water and let the waking minutes fly. No sorrow knocked upon the door, no sudden fear ran through the hall. The day began in simple ways and asked for almost none at all. A cup of warmth between my hands, a little bread, a little fruit. The kind of peace that has no name, the kind that lets the heart stay mute. I did not need a grander dawn, no shining sign, no glorious fire. Only a room that stayed so calm, only a breath that did not tire. The clock spoke softly from the wall. A bird left one note in the air. the leaves beside the glass. They leaned as if they knew the day would come and safely let them pass. The mirror showed a simple face, still carrying sleep, still standing true, not asking who I used to be, but only what this day could do. There are mornings sharp with wind and mornings full of nameless strain, but this one moved with careful hands and kept me clear of sudden rain. I listened for bad news to rise, but heard the steady hum instead. The small machines of ordinary life, the faithful roof above my head. And in that calm I felt it clear, a blessing plain and softly made. To wake, to stand, to pour, to eat, to find the dark had gently stayed. So let me keep this quiet hour like folded cloth, like hidden gold. A morning that went safely by, a little mercy I can hold. When louder roads appear by noon, when worry tries to pull me through, I will remember how dawn began, still unbroken, mild and true. The morning came and slowly passed, leaving no wound, no troubled trace. I hold its calm inside my chest and walk the day with gentler grace.
For just a breath the day went wrong, the floor leaned strangely under me. A sudden slip, a missing step, a narrow edge I did not see. My hand reached out to empty air, my heart rose sharp against my chest. The room grew wide, the seconds thin, and fear stepped near without a rest. It was not much, and yet it was a door half opened into dread. A tiny crack beneath the hour, a quick cold shadow overhead. Almost, only almost, not a fall, not a cry. Only the world tilting once, then slowly passing by. I caught the table with my hand, I found the wall, I found my breath. I stood there still and let the fear move through me like a thought of death. The chair remained, the light remained, the window did not turn away. And in that quiet little room I felt my body choose to stay. How close a person comes sometimes to sorrow, wearing no loud name. How near the dark wing brushes past before the air turns soft again. I looked at both my shaking hands, they were still mine, they still could hold. A little cold, a little weak, but faithful in the sudden cold. I thank the floor for letting go. I thank the wall for being near. I thank the habit of slow steps that kept me here, that kept me clear. No one may know that moment past, no mark was left for eyes to see. But I will keep its quiet truth, the day bent low and spared me. Afterward I sat a while, not out of loss, but out of care, and felt my pulse return itself to smaller rhythms in the air. The cup still waited by the sink, the the dust still glowed along the floor. The ordinary room stood close and seemed more tender than before. Almost fell, still okay. What a plain and human line. The body startled, then returned. The hour remained, the day was mine. So now I walk a little slow. I do not race the next small turn. There is no shame in careful feet. There is still much for me to learn. A hand on wood, a breath made long, a pause before I move ahead, and gratitude for one more step on ground that did not take me dead. The moment passed, the room grew mild, my heart came home, my knees stood true. I am still here inside this day, still held, still learning to walk through.
There was one thing before my eyes, a small unfinished weight to bear, not bright enough for praise or song, but heavy in the day, still there. It waited through the morning hours, without a voice, without a sign. A simple task, a quiet need, yet somehow asking all of mine. I sat with it and stayed a while. I let the noise grow far away. I gave my hands to just one thing, and let the rest of life delay. Maybe a drawer, maybe a page, maybe a call I had to make, maybe a bill, a dish, a note, a promise I could no longer shake. The world would say it was so small, but I had felt its hidden weight, the way it followed every thought, the way it quietly learned to wait. So I began, not fast, not grand, one little step, then one more done. A careful rhythm, soft and plain, a modest work beneath the sun. My mind would wander now and then, a worry knocked, a memory stayed, but I returned with gentle hands and did not let my heart be swayed. There is a strength that does not shine, that simply keeps its place and tries, that folds, that sorts, that wipes, that writes, and does not need a grand disguise. And then at last it came to rest. No thunder rolled, no trumpet spoke, only a quiet inward click, the kind a tired spirit knows. Finished, safely finished. Such a small and precious word, like setting down a carried stone, like hearing something kind unheard. The paper found its proper place, the cup was washed, the shelf stood clear, the loose end no longer pulled, the room itself felt easier. I had not mended everything, tomorrow still would ask for more, but one small burden crossed the line and would not wait for me no more. How good to close one open thread, how good to end one little ache, how good to prove with steady hands there are still things that I can make. A candle's flame is very small, yet it can warm a darkened wall. A latch is slight, a clasp is thin, yet both can keep a safe place whole. So let this one completed thing stand quietly beside my name, not as a triumph sung aloud, but as a calm and faithful flame among the tasks tasks I could not reach. Among the doubts that stayed unknown, there was one thing I carried through, and I did not carry it alone. The hour grew softer after that, my breath grew deep, my shoulders light, one gentle task laid safely down. And that was enough for this night. And that was enough for this night. Stay where it was, quiet through the day. The hours had their noise, there are little waves of strain. A word that lingered too long, a thought that turned again, a face, a sound, a silence, a memory passing through. But still my heart kept standing beneath it all, still true. It did not run ahead, it did not fall behind. It stayed beside my breathing and kept a careful time. Not hard like stone or iron, not closed against the air, just softly in its own place, still living, still aware. There were moments I grew tired, moments the light fell thin, moments the world pressed lightly against my chest and skin. Yet something deep stayed even, a lamp that did not sway, a chair that did not move, a hand that chose to stay. I have no restless hours, I have known hearts that scatter, I have known the inward shaking that makes small things seem larger. But this day held a mercy so plain I almost missed. My heart remained its own and did not clench its fist. It let the worry pass, it let the silence be. It did not chase each shadow across the room of me. It listened then grew quiet, it waited then grew kind, as if it knew some peace my thoughts had yet to find. What keeps a heart so steady? No trumpet ever says. Perhaps a slower breathing, perhaps more weathered days, perhaps the gentle practice of not believing fear, the small and faithful learning that help us sometimes hear. So I walked on through the hours with no great song to sing, only this calm within me, this undisturbed small spring. And when the evening found me, I knew what had been true. My heart had kept its place the whole long daylight through.
there is a little place where I can breathe again. Not wide, not bright with wonder, not grand for eyes to praise. Only a corner holding the softness of my days. A chair, a cup, a window, a wall that knows my name. A light that falls so gently and always looks the same. The world can grow too crowded, its voices sharp and fast, its doors half open to worry, its shadows long and vast. But here the air grows kinder, here the shoulders slow, here the heart unfastens what it no longer needs to hold. Perhaps it is a blanket, perhaps a narrow room, perhaps a plant beside me still making patient bloom. Perhaps the table waiting with scratches time has made. Perhaps the quiet habit of returning unafraid. So small and yet so certain, this little patch of peace, a place that asks for nothing and lets the inward noise decrease. No need to prove or answer, no need to stand on guard, only to rest a moment and let the day grow soft. I have learned the worth of smallness. A shelter does not need a gate of shining metal to guard a tender need. Sometimes a safe place lies in the way the kettle sings, in folded cloth, in evening light, in ordinary things. Wandering too far into the strain, I think of this one harbor and find my breath again. The body knows the pathway, the spirit knows it too. A little place of safety, simple, steady, true. Keep it near, this room within the day, this small, sure, safe place where fear can lose its way. And when the world grows louder, I will remember then there is a little place where I can breathe again. Our days end there it was, a place that waited still. The road had taken from me its share of thought and pace. The hours had worn their edge across my hands and face. Voices came and vanished, the light moved thin and low. And all the while one quiet heart was walking with me home. Not every day is gentle, not every step goes right, but there is deep relief Perhaps the lamp was waiting, perhaps the sink, the cup, perhaps the shoes by the doorway where I could set mine. Perhaps no one was speaking, perhaps no song was on. Yet even in that stillness, I knew I was not gone. How much a heart can carry when it knows where it will land. How much the body softens near one familiar stand. The air itself felt easier, the walls received my day, and all the scattered pieces could slowly come to stay. I did not need perfection, I did not need delight, only a place to loosen the weight of being upright, only a room to enter without defense or role, only the quiet mercy of gathering back my soul. So when the evening settled and the last light touched the floor, I felt a humble gratitude. I had asked for nothing more. Through all the passing hours, through all I wandered through, I had somewhere to return to, and it returned me to.
Thank you, my body, for staying with me. You rose again this morning, though sleep was not so deep. You carried all my minutes and held what I could keep. You walked me through the hallway, you brought me to the chair. You kept your quiet promise by simply being there. These hands still know the cup, these feet still know the floor. These eyes can greet the window, these arms can lift once more. No grand and shining power, no victory to prove, only the faithful working in every little move. You have known ache and weather, you have known weight and years. You have kept going softly through ordinary fears. A stare, a bag, a doorway, a breath held slow and long. So many small survivals, you carried me along. I have not always thanked you, I know that this is true. Too often I have asked for more and hurried right through you. But today I want to notice the gift that you have done. You kept me whole enough to stand and meet another sun. My shoulders tired but willing, my knees still finding grace, my back still bearing quietly the shape of time and days, my heart still keeping measure, my lungs still drawing life. All of you together have brought me here tonight. Even in slower motion, even with care and pause, there is a tender dignity in how you hold your course.
Not young, not free from burden, not untouched by the strain. Yet still you make a pathway through pleasure, work and pain. So thank you for this breathing, thank you for this skin, thank you for the steady bones that keep my spirit in. Thank you for the small repairs you make without a sound. Thank you for returning me each time I come unwound. I will not ask for glory, I will not ask for speed. Only enough for morning, only enough for me. Enough to wash and listen, enough to rise and rest, enough to meet the day with courage in my chest. Thank you, my body, for staying with me.
Let it pass through, let it move on. Worry came in lightly, it stood beside my chair. Not loud enough to name itself, but present in the air. A shadow near the window, a knock without a sound. A little restless stirring that followed me around. It spoke of what might happen, spoke of what could fail. It tugged upon tomorrow and made the daylight pale. It asked for all my attention, it asked me to believe that every small uncertainty was something I should grieve. Oh, but I have learned a little from days that came before. Not every thought that enters must stay inside the door. Not every fear is wisdom, not every ache is true. Some things are only passing clouds that dim the sky for you. So I did not build it a chair, I did not pour it tea, I did not hand it all the rooms that live inside of me. I let it cross the silence, I let it have its say. Then like a brief and wayward wind I let it drift away. A breath became my shelter, a pause became my guide. I felt the ground beneath me, I stayed where I could by the kettle on the counter, the light along the wall. The ordinary things nearby were truer than it all. Worry likes to whisper that peace is far and late, but sometimes peace is simply this: not opening every gate, not following each dark thread, not answering each cry, just standing in the present air and letting trouble pass by. The mind may make its circles, the heart may feel a strain, yet neither has to carry each drop of future rain. Some storms are never coming, some fears dissolve by noon, some heavy thoughts lose all their weight when left outside the room. So let me practice softly this wiser, slower art, to watch a worry passing through without handing in my heart, to know that I can greet it and still remain my own, to leave some space around my soul untaken and known. Let it pass through.
is stay, stay. It was not dressed in shining colors. It did not lift a victor's song. It came with hours that asked for patience and seemed at times a little long. There were moments thick with effort, small descents I did not name, tasks that leaned upon my shoulders, thoughts that flickered close to flame. No grand hand reached to turn the weather, no bright reward fell at my feet. Yet still I walked from hour to hour on roads both ordinary and steep. And by the time the evening gathered, all its quiet around the room, I knew the day it cost me something and still had made a place to bloom. There is worth in getting through and staying with the tender thread, in carrying a simple life from morning into bed. Not every day was meant for conquering, not every strength for show. Some days are precious just because I live them through and slow. I think of all the hidden labors that never rise to public speech, the swallowing down of sharp impatience, the choosing calm within my reach, the making peace with imperfection, the resting hand, the measured tone, the quiet choosing not to break when one feels inwardly alone. How much of living is this softness, this almost invisible repair? The way we gather up our pieces and still put kindness somewhere there. A day survived is not a small thing, a day endured is not a loss, for even plain and weary hours have taught me something of my cost. There is worth in getting through and staying with the tender thread, in carrying a simple life from morning into bed. Not every day was meant for conquering, not every strength for show. Some days are precious just because I live them through and slow. The world may praise the heights and thunder, the shining leap, the sudden art, but I have learned to bow more deeply to the stamina of heart, to keep on breathing without grandeur, to make it through without applause, to stand inside a human limit and still remain. That is enough. There is worth in getting through more than I knew before, and bringing all my worn out hours safe to an evening door. And if this day asks nothing from me but honesty and staying true, then let that be a humble kind of gold, the worth of getting through. This day, stay. I said it right again and kept on going. A small mistake found me it opened in the day. A word a little misplaced, a thing not done the way I wanted it to happen. I felt the brief sting start, the quick and quiet sinking inside a careful heart. For one short moment, trouble grew bigger than it was. The mind began its old refrain of should have and because. But nothing truly ended. The sky did not come down. The hour was still before me. The world still held its ground. So I did not stay broken. I did not turn away. I stopped and faced the loose thread, still waiting in the day. A breath, a look, a small repair, a hand returning slow, and what had come unraveled began again to sow. How many times in living we falter in plain sight? I missed an awkward moment, a left and not quite right. Yet life does not demand of us a flawless shining art. Sometimes it only asks us to begin again with heart. I moved the thing back gently, I said the needed word, I cleaned the little ending that had come out blurred. No trumpet for correction, no praise for trying twice, only the quiet comfort of making something right. A person need not vanish because a step went wrong. A day need not grow heavy because one note missed its song. There is mercy in returning, there is peace in trying still, there is strength in small restoring that does not break the will. So I let the error soften, I let the lesson stay, not as a stone of shame, but as a lamp along the way. I am still here, still learning, still able to begin, and that is its own kindness after where I have been. The task stood whole before me, the room grew clear again, and in that plain resetting I found a quiet gain. Not perfect, only steadier, not proud, just passing through. But I reset what could be reset, and that small thing was true. I set it right again, and kept on going. For with each breath, safe in each step, I did not rush this day, I let it come in time, one breath before another, one quiet little climb. The body asked for gentleness, the heart agreed to stay, and so I moved with care enough to meet the whole long day. begin to raise the soft and steady doorway back into one still place, in through the tired ribcage, out through the gathered strain, until the hurried beating grows mild and clear again. There is no loss in slowness, no shame in measured pace. The world may praise the swifter feet that never seem to wait, but I have found a wisdom in not out walking peace, in letting every anxious turn grow smaller and decrease. A pause beside the doorway, a hand upon the rail, a moment at the window to let the spinning fail. The air went in so quietly, the air came out so kind, and left a little room again inside my crowded mind. Some days are best not conquered, some days are best just crossed with careful feet and patient breath, so nothing due is lost. Not every road needs urgency, not every hour a push. Some hours asked for softer steps and one untroubled hush. So I kept faith with breathing, its rise, its fall, its grace. I let it be the gentle guide that set my inward pace, and all the day grew safer for not being hurried through. The floor stayed firm beneath me, the light stayed plain and true. By evening I was thankful, not for how far I had gone, but for the way I carried myself from dawn to later dawn. No grand and blazing finish, no race that I had won, only slow and safe with each breath, until the day was done. Slow with each breath, safe in each step.
Safe enough, no miracle announced itself, no bright and sudden sign. The hours wore common clothing and moved in quiet time. A table, cup and doorway, a street, a chair light, and all this plain familiar helped gently through the night. There was no grand protection, no wall of gold above, only the steady covering of routine, rest and love. The way the morning started, the way the noon moved by, the way the evening closed the day beneath the simple sky. I have known days that scattered and days that cut too near, but this one stayed unremarked and that became its cue here. Nothing asked to be risked here, nothing fell apart. The ordinary day itself kept watch around my heart. A meal arrived in quiet, a seat received my weight. The clock went on in kindness without a need to wait. The road was plain before me, the room was calm behind, and all the little things kept teasing back moans. How often we forget to thank what does not cry for praise, the unnoticed guard of commonness, the shelter of plain days, a known and steady pathway, a door that closes right, a body meeting modest task from morning into night. Not every safety glitters, not every grace is loud. Sometimes it lives in sameness, unhidden by a crowd. A day with no sharp turning, a day that simply stayed, and by its very plainness, a softer life was made. So let me name it kindly before it passes through. This ordinary day protected me in all the small things true. And when tomorrow opens, whatever it may prove, I will remember common hours can guard us with their quiet love. An ordinary day kept me safe enough.
I held myself today with gentler hands. The day was not too heavy, but still I felt its weight. A little ache of thinking, a little pool of lake. So I did not turn against me, I did not press too hard. I chose a softer kindness and let my heart on guard. I spoke in quieter language inside my tiring mind. Not every thought needs judgment, not every wound a sign. Sometimes the truest healing is simple and is small. To stay beside your own soul and not let it fall. I gave myself some breathing, I gave myself some rest. A pause between the hours, a hand upon my chest. No grand repair was needed, no shining answer came, only a steady mercy that called me by my name. How often we grow sharper with our own inward face, as if the heart needs scolding to keep a careful pace. But I have learned a little was to stand more gently inside this passing day, to leave a little shelter within my thoughts and skin, so when the world grew louder I still had peace within. By evening I felt thankful, not proud, just calm and true. I had not left myself behind in all I traveled through. I kept my place beside me, I stayed where I belong, and that became a quiet grace that held me all day long. I held myself today with gentler hands. Safe enough tonight to reach tomorrow. This day did not defeat me, though it asked its little due. It took my time and breathing, as all long days will do. Yet here I am at evening, with light grown faint and small, still gathered in one spirit, still answering its call. Not everything was easy, not everything stood still. There were thoughts that needed settling, there were turns that asked for will, but nothing broke beyond repair, nothing closed the door. And now the night has found me more mended than before. That is enough, this knowing. I do not ask for more, only a quiet passage from this day to the next shore. A little rest before me, a little dark made mild, a place where sleep may find me and hold me like a child. Tomorrow does not need me to arrive in perfect light, only safe enough in body, only soft enough tonight, enough to lay the burden down, enough to lose the chest, enough to trust the hidden hours and enter into rest. There is comfort in continuation, and simply still going on, and finding one more evening at the far edge of dawn. The thread has not been broken, the road has not run through, and somewhere past this quiet dark, the morning waits in blue. So let me bless this ordinary, unfinished, faithful way, a life not free from trembling, yet still carried day by day. And let me thank the shelter that brought me to this room, safe enough to reach tomorrow and wake to meet it soon. No vision needed, no final shining view, only this calm small truth tonight. I made it safely through. The lamp grows low beside me, the last air settles slow, and I am safe enough tonight to let tomorrow grow. Safe enough tonight to reach